If you've never seen the playthroughs of Roadwarden before, you might be surprised that we play this at all. There's VOD somewhere in the second page of my channel, somewhere on the VOD channel, that have videos of this game. Roadwarden is, just a small recap, I won't go too much into it. It's an action, well, not an action, it's an RPG adventure game that's basically fully text-based. It's an amazing game. This game is amazing. See, you must have played it then, chat. I think this game is fantastic for what it does. We've gotten pretty far in this as well. So last time we went through this, again, spoilers if you don't want to play, if you haven't played this game yet, but you want to play it for yourself. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we went on and we saved a town by taking the Seed of the Beholder that only comes once a year after sacrificing so much of our blood, and we took it with the old druid to save this town instead of giving it to Howleysdale. We pissed off a lot of people, but in the end, we saved a lot of lives, and we opened up a whole new avenue of things for us to do. This game is about you being a road warden on the road, trying to connect to this almost wild, barren wasteland, with very, very sparse amounts of people living there, and trying to connect them in a way that should hopefully unite them towards one purpose, whether it's staying alive or under one banner. We're still not really sure yet. And also, we've been given a task by the main town to find the old Roadwarden to uphold some sort of merchant deal that he struck with the city. There's a lot of very interesting things you can sort of go down and investigate in this game story. There's moments of political intrigue, there's moments of very, very tense action, but the way that it describes it through text makes it feel like you're there. Obviously, this game, despite it looking fantastic as the way it is now, is a very, very limited visual game, so be sure to use much of your imagination. This is your time to sleep. These games are always put on at the very end to allow people to sort of coast off into sleep. This is your time to just rest and relax and enjoy the journey that we're taking. And you're also welcome to take part as well. You can ask questions and see what things are about, and I can try my best to explain it, and we can explore it together. This wild land above Hovleven to the north. And every single time we start this game, there's always a new quote. I don't think we've ever heard of this. This is more of an explanation of things. A living human is made of a shell, pneuma, and soul. The undead are shells moved by wild pneuma, with no soul to tame it, which we know about. We learned about this from going to the very first inn. As I mentioned before, we've gotten pretty far in this game. We were able to solve a very massive mystery involving what happened to the town. We were also able to figure out how to bring them back to life. I forget what this town was called again. However, we've also been on this trail of trying to figure out what happened to the town in the middle, the bottom of the map. I forget the name of that as well. And to figure out, why they disappeared, why they died, and why Howleysdale did what they did. Because we know enough to know that Howleysdale, the people of Howleysdale, Theus and all, used their druidic powers to effectively condemn that village to death. We don't know why they did it yet. We don't necessarily know about the full history of it. But we now have a new avenue to learn new things from this also very old town that was here since the very beginning of it. So, the 10-year-old mystery. The clues you've gathered suggest that this lazy peninsula went through many changes 10 years ago, accidentally around the time when the southern village has fallen. You use what you've learned to ask the locals exactly what happened. Gaining their trust may take a bit of work. Now, as a bit of a recap, the way this game works is very, very simple. It's a text-based game. So you just make a bunch of choices based on what you read. However, what differs in this game versus other text-based games is that you oftentimes don't really have many static choices. The choices are either very dynamic, you have many choices, or even dynamic to the point where you need to type your choices in. There's a lot of variability in how you can play this game. It's a very, very surprisingly well-built text-based adventure game. It reminds me a lot of how EverQuest handles its quests, where you need to figure out the right word to say to further dialogue, otherwise you're stuck, right? And this game relies a lot on your knowledge, not just of, the knowledge that your character has, but the knowledge that you, the player, have as well. And you need to sort of work with your character to understand what to do, choosing the right actions that they might want to do. Because you may be presented with a bunch of, lists of choices, and there's really only, a couple of things that work very well based on your knowledge of these creatures that live in this world, for instance. You may know, for instance, that, the howlers that throw their rocks at you, they're not going to fight you unless you go up close to them, so you can just avoid them. But the game gives you the option to. It's about knowing. This game is a lot about knowing and understanding and remembering and learning about this land all around you, trying to figure out all these mysteries. We haven't gotten very far too. As a recap, we haven't gotten to the eastern end yet. You see, mostly in the west end, we solve many mysteries within the pure side Gale of Rocks. We saved old Pagos, which is a village of stonemasons. We need to go back towards the northern road to let them know. I think that the trade deal is still going on. Someone else also had like a deal with them as well. The elite helped us save it. And now, right now, the Steep House, we need to figure out what happened in like Steep House. We still haven't found the old Roadwarden as well, or at least any hints of what happened to them. We know that they were in cahoots with the band of bandits somewhere around Halleysdale, Glaucia's band, but I don't necessarily know to what extent and where and why and what they were doing yet. I have a feeling that it's going to be somewhere around down here, but we had to get there eventually. Last time we stopped, again, we saved Old Pecos, so I'm curious to see what we can do from here and how much information we can gain from this newly revitalized town. We have two options here. Last time we were here, we were talking about them and we wanted to ask them some like questions, right? We saved them, the other people saved, like, oh, my life is back. And then I came back and I was like, hey, can I ask some questions? That's why they said, go ahead, friend. I have two options. You had told me that Theus, I want to say like, the matron mother of Halleysdale, I forget what her actual title is. I think she's like the like mayor, technically. But she actually runs everything behind the scenes with the druids as well. So she technically controls a lot of the entire town. And she's not just the mayor. Like she doesn't just govern. She almost controls in a very dictated way. Authoritarian way. Theus had grand plans 10 years ago. This is related to the ruins in the south. And also lie and say that I've been in many settlements, warning the locals about the plague, and that they don't have to worry about their safety. Is this the game that you played, that I played when you found my stream? No, I have no clue. I actually don't remember anything about any of you, chat. Again, this is why I tell all of you. Don't feel like this is a place where we can be like friends. The reality of it is that there's so many of you, I don't remember a single detail of like any of you. I only remember some things that like strike my mind as like funny. So unless it was a funny moment, I have no clue. But if it was, welcome back, I guess. So far, we've been building our Roadwarden up, like a character up to not be a liar. I don't think lying gets you very many things. I think honesty gets you much further, right? The more you lie, the more you need to uphold this intricate web of lies. Any single little piece of fabric that sticks out, any little piece of thread that sticks out, is an opportunity for your web of lies to become undone. And to keep that web of lies, perfect, to keep the quilt of lies absolutely perfect with no single fraying end, you need to be on point with every single word that you say. You need to keep track of a record of everything that you've done. Which, as you know about me, is kind of hard because I rarely come back to these games. These games take very, very long sessions to play, and so we build this story over many, many play sessions, over many, many months, over many, many, like now it's on to the second year of playing this game. So it takes a while for us to go through this. I think it's worth it, to be honest here. I really just want to know what happened to the town anyways. I don't want to deal with like the whole lines about the plague, especially about the plague. Because we didn't really warn the settlements yet. We haven't really done that yet. They asked us to warn the other settlements, but we've never been to, say, the White Marshes yet. All the way in the east. We've been terrified to go there for obvious reasons. The forest in the middle is dangerous. We know Glaucia's band is somewhere in this forest, in a cave somewhere. But we know that there's a bunch of danger. So hopefully, if we figure out the mystery of the forest, figure out the mystery of Glaucia's band, figure out the mystery of the eastern side, maybe we can find an easier passage through, a much faster passage, guided by Glaucia's band in safety, and also figure out where the White Marshes are, and then we can maybe warn them. Not that we really need to. Plague is gone, but it'd be nice to. So, is this related to the ruins in the south? Your breaths get heavy. Warden, studying the past is a part of your duties. I realize that. She closes her eyes. But you'll find naught of worth in that place, and naught that can be fixed. My duty is to keep everyone safe, and I can do so only through silence. Well, that's unfortunate. She's still not willing to break her duty by telling me about the ruins, which means whatever she was doing was related to those ruins, whatever her duty was. We don't really know what her duty was. We don't know why she needs to keep people safe. My theory, before we came here and as we were walking through this, is that Glaucia's band probably has some leverage over them and is trying to get them to keep quiet in some way. The band of bandits. The problem is that we need to figure out how to gain trust with these people in order for them to get rid of that, or we need to deal with Glaucia's band such that we can almost usurp their authority in this place. I wish they have many. They have quite a bit of authority in this place for some reason. Now, as a recap, you also have your journal, which is nice because you get to see what you've done and keep track of what you've been going through. There's also notes that I never use. I never use these notes. I just have a couple of notes for some very, I guess, like interesting things, like the name of the enchantress from Foggy. I have we figured out the beholder. We got the daughter of Photios. I think we saw her out. No, I don't think we saw her out yet. Fulvia, probably important. Galerox. Dementia post stream. I still don't know what that means. I'm just gonna keep that. Who is the strange who was following me for 3 days? Oh yeah, there's a guide in Galerox following us. There's clowns, Balachels, Jessers, Saltery, Galerox, Dommy Mommy about the statue. What? Are we still trading? I'm running out of patience. What? Middle shortcut to the pile of rocks. Oh, and then we need a rope with hooks to get to Glaucia's band cave. So this is to get to Glaucia's band's cave. Because we have the shortcut. Okay, cool. Well, that told me nothing. What quest over here? What quest do we have? And what did we do last time? So the tunnel in the south, we fixed the tunnel, I think. Or we got close to it. Some humans shot the fence. We know what happened to the ruined village somewhat. We see what's going on here. We know what happened to the fence and stuff like that. We know that there's a bunch of information with Old Pagos and from Theas and Hallisdell. Theas hates us, but not to the point where she doesn't want to work with us. We're just in a business relationship now, though. We're no longer really a part of her. So this doesn't really work anymore. This idea of support for Hallisdell. But I still want to spy on them just in case. We need to go to the Enchantress somewhere. We need to go back to Old Foggy, which is in the northern side, under Galerox, to ask her about the name of the Enchantress, who will then get us to, who will then give us a rock for his daughter. We should get us some money. There's some pretty good items as well, so we should be good. But we need to figure out where these people are. And Asterion is the old Roadwarden, so we need to figure out where he is. He did end up being, he did end up going to Galerox often, I think. Or maybe he asked someone, or somebody mentioned to him that they'd like to come here. Which means that somebody knew him in this area. Though he's been going everywhere around the zone, so. It's a lot to go down. There's a bunch to do, so we need to figure out what to do here. However, I think a good first step is to go back to the monastery. I think last time we went to this monastery, they didn't really appreciate us, and they weren't doing too great, and they were kind of staying away from Old Pagos because of the plague. And now that we solved the plague's problem, I'm curious to see what they want to say about it now. Because now that the plague is over, I'm curious to see, would they be willing to work with us now that we've proven ourselves to be very resourceful. Because we can't get much out of old Pagos at the moment. It's very, very hard. And so, a carcass of an ibex floats down the river, closely followed by rooks. They eat it one dab at a time. You spot more than a dozen hooded figures absorbed by their work in the fields and among the fruit trees. One of them is hanging by the hourglass, which is the symbol of these monks. It's a symbol of a larger religion, of a larger group in this world. Polishing it with a cloth. You call the monks by hitting the sticks, and the drawbridge lowers. Irely, he gestures for you to enter the storage house with his bandaged hand. Wooden, he nods. It's all alright. His young companion is right next to him, observing your palfrey. We have a couple of options. We have a new option here, too, especially. Last time we asked about the hunters, I don't think they gave us much information, except the fact that one of the hunters I think was here. We're just not allowed to talk to him. He's further inside. Last time I think we asked about the spirit rock as well. They warned us about the spirit rock and that we shouldn't use it because it's pneuma condensed into a rock. There's a bit of danger in using it. The reason why that fisherman from Gale Rock wanted this for his daughter is because his daughter had no pneuma, which means you have no potential. No magic in a world that's dominated by the sense of everybody having some sense of magic. Especially in these villages out in the wild, you kind of need it to survive, I imagine. We can ask them about the ruins in the south of Steep Stone, the one that's been ruined by whatever curse befell them due to whatever actions from Hallisdell. I can also let them know about Old Pagos, the plague being gone. And I think this is a good step because for us to get jobs from them, we need to be trusted by them. And for us to get powdered basalt from here, which I don't know why we need it. I don't actually know why we need powdered basalt. But it might be good for a crafting material for making potions. We need them to trust us as well. So, let them know that we've done a good deed. I bring news from Old Pagos. The plague is no more. Haley Flouch flinches as doubt and distrust replace his look of surprise. How? I helped an elder druid from Hallisdell recover his strength. He healed the people of Old Pagos, and with a bit of luck, the illness won't return. Aha. He looks at Decima. Not sure how to react, but her wide open eyes don't help him much. He reaches out to you with an open palm of his bandaged hand. His fingers are flinching. Will you wait here? We'll gather our order. We'd be honored to hear the entire story. For a moment, He sounds exactly like the tribe from Old Pagos. Sure, I have time. Or I can say, you don't need to hear from me. Go and meet with the villagers, they'll tell you all you need to know. Obviously, if they don't know what's going on, and the reason why they're doing this is to gain an audience, is both as a method of spreading my word and thus getting me acquainted with the rest of this monastery, but also as a way of them verifying what I'm saying. They wouldn't want to go to the village. I don't think they would react very well to this if they believe that they're still suffering from a plague that can spread through contact. Instead, I think it's best for us to stay here and say, yeah, I have time. I'll tell you the whole thing. Leave it to me. I have a whole story here. He climbs uphill and enters the cave mouth next to the wooden bridge. His short companion follows your movements, like an owl with a snake, blocking your path to the storehouse. You feel the weight of your axe. Soon, new hooded figures gather in the yard. Is it true? Is it true? Is it true? Is it true? You hear a couple of times. When Eiley returns, there's maybe 20 souls around you, sitting on the ground, leaning against the walls, standing upright, or wandering around, keenly observing you. The oldest man, wrinkled, blind, and tiny, is sitting on a stool brought by a boy who can't be older than 10. Not all of them wear sandals, or carry bags, or have their hoods on, but all of them wear similar dark robes. Seems like only the children are allowed to keep their hair longer than an inch. In the city harbor, many would take them for refugees. I can either tell them the entire story, or I don't mention anything outside the knowledge of the people of Old Pagos, especially when it comes to the Beholder. It's maybe good to refer back to our journal here. We have knowledge on what this monastery is about. We know what the symbol is. I believe we could find their religion somewhere here. Let's see. Monks, here we go. The monastery devoted to the teachings of an order of truth. Order of truth, okay? The reason why I want to check this is because this land has a very interesting split between the various people that live in these lands. They are the first settlers of this ancient land. But the ones who came originally were very much into Druidism. The idea of living with nature, communing with the spirits of the world, communing with, almost the gods of these lands, right? In a weird way, they're each their own gods in some way. The Beholder is a tree. Weirdly enough, it's a tree in the middle of here that takes blood and gives power to you once a year in the form of its seed. It's a very deep druidic tradition that was being, I want to say, abused by Halloysdale to give long life and good health to only their people, irrespective of the lives of everyone else in every other village, causing whoever didn't take them to die a much faster death, because these lands are much more dangerous than you would think. However, there's also various numbers of religions and groups in this land that don't believe in that kind of paganism. They believe in a life that is more orderly, at least in their mind. They believe in a god that, eschews this idea of like paganistic desires. There's some that, maybe take it a different way. They might be neutral to all things, but they don't really want to stamp out either or. They simply are focused on taking care of themselves. So let's see which one it is. The Order of Truth is what this monastery is made for. It's what the people here believe. So let's see what they believe. The tablets portray people pursuing knowledgeable spiritual and physical worlds. They rarely focus on children, instead describing experienced, mature people looking for wisdom, contemplating their faith, exploring philosophical ideas, or inventing new technology. Sages, wizards, herbalists, and inventors. So perhaps they might actually be fine with the druids, given that an herbalist and a wizard, the magic in general, versus the technology of the United Church, is sort of the main divide between those two, if I recall correctly. The Orders of Truth, known as the Seekers, had no interest in pursuing political power or gathering wealth. Instead of creating hierarchies of priests and priestesses, they invited anyone ready to abandon their personal possessions, or in some cases, even their families, to live in small communities focused on gathering knowledge, creating and copying handwritten books, developing new technologies, exploring art, and studying medicine, alchemy, or magic. While these gatherings, later known as the Orders, were focused on different activities, they're ready to share their knowledge with each other and support themselves in times of need. At first, the United Church allowed the Seekers to carry on with their research. After a couple of centuries, some orders gathered large collections of priceless books and talented artisans, able to sell their works for huge prices. the Unites, which is the term for the followers of the United Church. To me, that's a very stupid term, and it sounds like what a marketing person at Unity would try to say. If you're a Unity 3D developer, they try to make you call yourself a Unite. Tried to force them to adapt to traditional structures and join the priesthood, as well as share their riches and knowledge with the Grand Temples. The orders refused, engaging in a long political conflict. Some monasteries were forced to succumb to the law, while others moved to rural areas, trying to live in harmony with the villages, willing to exchange supplies for their knowledge and artisanship. This is good. They are believers in the people of this land, and they're exiled effectively by the by the United Church. So which means we're actually safe to share with them our knowledge of the Beholder. Though there is one wrinkle to that. To share our knowledge of the Beholder, we share what we know about Hallow's Dell. Almost by omission or by, implication, we share that that Hallow's Dell was using the Beholder all this time, and that's why it was so hard to get to get our hands on the seed to save old Pecos. And I wonder what that's going to do. Hallow's Dell is already in a precarious position, being in the middle, almost divided from its neighbors. And in a weird way, you see this reflected in the task that Theus wants us to do. Theus is a character that's very interesting to me. She lives in this land with these people, lives in this wild land, and depends on the others to survive, right? Gale rocks for food and fish. The people of Old Pagos for well-cut stone to build their buildings with. The East for skeletons. I actually don't know what they take from the East. I forget. But trade in general is a very major part of this land. And she wants us to spy on them. She doesn't want us to talk to them. She wants us to spy on them for Hallow's Dell, for Theus. It's weird how separated she is, and I wonder if revealing that bit of knowledge about their abuse of the Beholder's power for their own selfish desires, what that's going to do for their reputation, and thus for their place in these wildlands forevermore. Let's continue reading to see if we can get some clues as to how to act here. I don't want to be too destructive, but I think almost we can't stop that. We can't stop that natural conclusion, because it wasn't by our hand that they're going to suffer some consequence. It's simply the natural consequence of how they've been living this whole time. A couple of the orders should not be influential and powerful enough to stay in the cities after all. Their large monasteries are generously rewarded for their abilities, but their knowledge is veiled in secrecy, securing the position of those who have access. The monks aren't explorers. They usually stay in the strongholds, only sometimes organizing the expeditions to gather information and resources that can't be obtained otherwise, or the chance for books or goods for sale. The orders don't keep military squads, but the monasteries settled in rural areas are well protected and even fortified. The Seekers portray nature as a mysterious force, a realm where the ancient heroes were illuminated by the rites or understood the secrets of life and magic. While they condemn necromancy and blood sorcery, they don't alienate themselves from the pagan tribes, considering them to be lost rather than wicked. At the same time, they express contempt toward the United Church, portraying it as spiritually hollow and too invested in political intrigues and violence. They had mixed feelings towards emperors and empresses, but remained loyal to their military authority, as if they'd had the choice. So in the face of military authority, it's either follow or die. We know that they're okay with pagans, and our character ourselves is a pagan. At some point, I think in the second or third playthrough, we were given the option to define our history and even the makeup of Hollovan itself, in a very fascinating way. The game's setting isn't even set in stone. Only the lands that we traverse, but the lands outside, the world that doesn't exist within this very small lens that we see of a much wider world, we were able to define. So I defined Hollovan, but also I defined ourselves as a pagan. We're close to the nature that surrounds us. Almost like we belong here, almost like we've always belonged here since the very beginning. Now that we know that they don't mind paganism, I think it is worth it to tell them the entire truth. Again, honesty, I believe, is a good way to build trust, to build favor. Whether there are consequences or not from this honesty is almost secondary to my concern, right? I only lie to keep the people that are actually good safe. And Hallow's Dell has proven themselves to be very selfish, very single-minded on a single purpose, which is make themselves stronger, take over the entire peninsula, be the main contact for the Hovlivin trade route, and effectively commandeer the entire northern wetlands. Despite the fact that they rely on the others around here, despite the fact that they need to all work together in order to survive, they would rather put themselves at the middle of it all, to be almost the artery, the heart of it all. Despite the fact that they killed Steep Stone, For whatever reason that we still don't know. And we need to know. And I think the monastery knows more than they're willing to let us, than they're willing to let on, so long as they trust us. And I'm going to trade Holloway's Dell, perhaps their future, for a bit of trust here, because I think that's worth more in the long run for both my objectives and the moral compass that I've set for this character. So I tell them the entire story. They keep interrupting you with questions about the druid, his powers, or your motivations. But once you mention the role of the altar, their looks get suspicious. They seem to have a decent understanding of Beholder and the gifts it seeks. The interrogation fades away only after you answer many of their doubts and assure them a couple of times that the village shows no sign of an overhanging curse. Finally, Airly asks the gathering to return to their duties. He gives you a serious look, rubbing the liver spots in his hands. There's aught else we need to discuss. Go ahead. Our prelate wants to see thee. He coughs. But they're old and feeble, and don't speak unless they have to. And only with those who can be trusted. He gives you a telling look. Thou mayest not be friend of our order, but we hope to find in thee our ally. I've been meaning to meet this person for a very long time. Because somewhere in this monastery is also... weird to say, we're a matchmaker. We're trying to find love for people in this land as well. Because again, birth rates are down. We need birth rates up to keep the economy going. So we need to find somebody in this monastery to match them up with someone else as well. In a weird way, this is both good for, I guess, our general position as a Roadwarden, but also good for love. This is now a dating sim. There are two options. I can either say I make no promises, doesn't really matter to me. Or I can say I'd be honored to meet with them, and I'll try my best to gain their trust. Again, there's nothing wrong with me gaining their trust, right? Oh, I live in these lands. I should learn to trust these people. I should try to gain the trust of the people in this land. I'm the Roadwarden. The Roadwarden takes care of this place, connects the people of this land together, acts all both as a courier and a protector, almost like a maintenance person for this entire, very wild, very desperate land. I think it's worth it for us to try our best. He snorts. Thy deeds will speak for thee. Now, we have a couple of things here. The plague is gone, so we have an option to stay here. I think that could be possible for us to do. We can't go to the prelate yet, because he's not willing to yet. I don't know how to really get him there. Wait, check the other way. Old and feeble, and okay, we have to get even more trusted. I could tell him about the copper vein I found, but I doubt it'll be enough to convince him. I forget about the copper vein where we found it. I think it was as part of that expedition that we did, trying to clear this like rubble from this corner over here when they did like an expedition to go through to the beach, which I do want to check out the beach, but the druids did say to stay away, but I do want to see what's over there. We also have some other option too. Well, actually no, those were the only two options. You know what? Tell me about the ruins in the south. Well, there's still but one ruins there. He glances at Decimer, who moves ahead left and right slowly, then clears his throat. Well, I won't lie by pretending I know little. I just decide to let it remain among our many bitter secrets. So they do know something. But we don't know enough he doesn't trust us enough for us to convince him to tell us about it. The plague is gone. Can I spend the night here? He scowls at you at first, then at Decima, who observes the sky carelessly. After a few silent heartbeats, he lets out a grunt. Maybe in the storehouse, but don't not think that I'm going to look after thy horse or cook for thee. All thee canst get is a roof for thy head. It's already plenty, and I appreciate that. Though I am hungry, you do need to take care of your own personal self here. Your vitality, your nourishment, your appearance, your armor. Nothing will kill us, I don't think. We've got a pretty good, I think, spider weave armor, made of spider silk. However, we don't look too good. We smell kind of bad. No one really wants to talk to us, which affects their trust of us as well. And we're hungry, which means we're going to be weaker in general. We can't do as much damage. I'm assuming we won't be able to defend ourselves as much, despite having really good armor. So let's see if they have a job for some food. Or maybe do I have food to eat? Nope. I got nothing. We are going to starve a little. That's fine. Do you need any help? I'm looking for a job. Wait, also I forgot. We have a winged hourglass amulet that we can wear as well, that we can show our allegiance to the right with. I need to make sure, because I'm curious if the right is a part of their belief, or if it's different from their belief. Here we go. The right and rights tablets. Rights tablets were written almost 2,000 years ago by many authors. The 500 years, Adir, the first emperor, turned some of them into a collection of religious teachings. The right is a monotheistic god described in the rights tablets. They tell about superhuman deeds of colorful heroes struggling with symbolic challenges and creatures. They don't focus on a specific ethnic group and were created when the northern tribes were still far from forming shared identities. The tablets also don't explain much about the creation, purpose, or destiny of the world, focusing more on daily life and ethics. The passage of time and the complexity of those sources makes them all confusing, almost incomprehensible, and they often contradict each other. The churches put a lot of effort into analyzing them, yet often disagree on even the most basic topics. The teachings most priests agree on are that the right is the only God, who fills human shells with souls. It's willing to forgive human wrongdoings if one decides to turn away from the evil deeds and bases their lives on truth, kindness, and justice. The value of one's life is not grand, thus every believer ought to be ready to sacrifice their life in the name of what's right. And listen to the right's will, just as the heroes of the tablets did. All humans will be judged by their deeds, both in this life and after death. They're more of a united church thing. So, to make sure that this will never slip out, can I make it, well, I'm not wearing it at the moment, but good to know that we should take it off if it ever, put it on if we see united, take it off if we don't, just in case, because this land is mainly not united. Church, do you need any help? I'm looking for a job. With his hands together and repeatedly taps his fingers, a first ever job from them, by the way. After a few breaths, he glances at the wandering monk, then lowers his voice. Let me see thy horse. How fast is it? You lead both him and Decima to the storehouse. While its steps are heavy and fierce, she doesn't make as much of a sound. Eiley shows no interest in your mount. There's this enchantress. She is aught we need you to pick up and bring here. He glances at the door. Follow the eastern road until you find the watchtower. Don't bother with it. It's either empty or a lair. Then head east to the lake. Interestingly, people at Gale Rocks also wanted us to go see that the Enchantress for Spirit Rock. We now have a bit of a conflict here, I think, brewing. What do you want me to bring? He waves his fingers. A set of quills. We sharpened them and asked her to make them last. Thy pet won't even notice. Why is it such a secret? And why would my pet not even notice? It's really not. It's just that they're a surprise gift. No, I asked you to this room for a different reason. He's trying to avoid that topic. Well, I guess it makes sense. Tell me about the Enchantress, then. Despite his, casual nods, an angry note distorts his already hoarse voice. Eudocia lives by herself, surrounding her house with dangerous spells. Her talent knows no equal, yet she's a spider queen in the center of the web. He wipes the sweat off Yogi's side. She's the only shell she cares about, and uses those who reach out to her. Keep your guard up. Interesting. We know her name now, so we don't even need to go towards Foggy, which was the owner of that inn in the very, very top. The Enchantress's name is Eudocia. Again, I used to have these notes somewhere in Obsidian, but I lost them, sorry. I'm still trying to find them. But this subcontext is interesting, okay? Surprise gift, quills, make sure to sharpen them. Quills are a bit of a weird gift to give. Why would you give someone a pair of quills? You can make quills from anything. Find a good feather and you're good to go, basically. I mean, what else is there? Unless they mean like a really advanced quill, like the ones that we have today in like modern day, made of metal and stuff. But I don't think that would be the case. Even if that was the case, right? Why do they care so much about it? Sure, they care about the writing and the bookkeeping and like stuff like that. But why do they care to bring it to the Enchantress of all people? Sure, she may be powerful, but we know that this land is full of many, many talented smithies. Many, 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 many talented magical people as well, who know magic. The druids are even close with them as well, but considering that they're sympathetic to the pagan cause. So why not them? And then why say that she's selfish? That she's a spider queen in the center of the web? Why say that she uses people? And why tell us to keep our guard up? Why even interface with somebody like this? Why bother with this interaction? Am I just a pawn in a much greater ploy? I hope not, because we haven't even met her, and I'd rather not get on somebody's bad side, especially if they know how to cast a spell or two. We know the power of magic. Power is strong enough to heal an entire land of a plague. Imagine what they could do to a single person, like me, with nothing to my name but an axe, a horse, and a shield. What about my reward? What dost thou want? We don't really know how to... He's still learning how to speak in this. I could either ask him to spread a good word about me in the Order. You asked me for a long and dangerous journey, 5 dragons. Dragons being coins carved with the dragon bones to use as currency. Or, I'm sure you can find a healing potion to spare. Now, I care more about reputation. We have a good amount of money, I believe. We can get a lot of money by selling boar tusks, for instance. It doesn't really matter. We can also get more money by selling a bunch of these like extra stuff too, like iron scraps and stuff like that. We can actually build a couple things as well. We also don't really need a healing potion, despite the fact that, you know, we're doing well health-wise, and healing doesn't take too long. And we haven't really been in danger very often. We have a lot of ways to escape from danger as well, using sharpening potions and stuff like that. A bit of like a witcher, right? You prepare yourself with some potions, get yourself out of sticky situations. It's about preparation, mostly. We also have a number of magical tools, things like the magic chisel, for instance, that can help us. Really, what we want is more trust, that we can sort of speed this whole process up. So just spread a good word about me in the Order. He rubs his cheek with his thumb. Interesting. Deal. I'll do your job. Well, we'll see how good of a rider thou art. He glances at the door and lowers his voice. But there's some other stuff we need from thee. Stuff that takes subtlety and... He straightens up. Dedication to our cause. This is a very interesting ploy here, and I figured we would probably be embroiled in some larger conflict. Dedication to a cause is scary, right? What is the Roadwarden? Again, somebody who connects these very wild lands, connects the people living in it with each other. To say that we're dedicated to a cause is almost to act in defiance of our role. And though a role it was placed upon us by the city for the sake of, effectively a merchant contract, still I think it's important to understand what this role is and try our best at it. We've set this sort of goal for ourselves and our character to be the best Roadwarden that we can be, and live by these ideals of connecting this like wildlands. So doing something like this is a bit scary. Dedication to any cause is scary to me. I only care about the people, but again, they are the people of this land. They are exiled by the people of Hovleven because the United Church sets up their like base there, and the few that stay there, well, they're also used as pawns in the greater political game. So, dedicating ourselves to our cause is helping the people. But how much does it hurt others? Let's see. We have a couple of options, right? We can either ask them, "What do you want me to do?" Or if it's something shady, I'm out. Or we say, "What cause is that?" Maybe just a very simple one. I think it's good to sort of like be questioning about it, but not too enthusiastic. But I'm worried that being not too enthusiastic would maybe scare him off. Be like, okay, well, you're not really ready for this, and what we're going to ask of you is a very perhaps deadly thing that requires a lot of faith in us and trust as well. So let's play along. What do you want me to do? Swear thou wilt not betray our order. Some more options. And what if you're gonna cast a curse at me? Never taunt a wizard. If you taunt a wizard, they're going to kill you. Don't even bother. Okay, wizards have power for a reason. I can say I won't betray you as a promise. I can lie and say I won't betray you. No way. Or say maybe you're asking for too much. No, I won't betray you. As much as it pains me to say so, you are a part of this land. I'm curious what this is. I'll try my best. I won't betray you, but I sure hope I'm not betraying someone else too. So I'm gonna take a risk. I won't betray you. His smile reveals his yellow teeth. Once thou reachest the enchantress's house, thou wilt find golems made of stone. I've heard they're larger than a lumberjack. Could tear thy pet to pieces. He looks away, talking to himself. Can they be defeated? Can they do aught without a direct order from the mistress? We need to prepare ourselves. Learn about them as much as thou canst. Give them a good look. Ask her a few subtle questions. And what will I get in return for this subterfuge? Looks like we've been embroiled in a bit of a battle, unfortunately, between Oh god, between the monastery and the enchantress. And I don't know why they're battling, but let's see what they're trying to get at. Maybe there's a bit of distrust, maybe we can unite them in a purpose. This isn't good, especially when you consider how much magic power she has, but let's see what we possibly get out of it in Imogen. Art we don't share lightly. A secret of thy choice. He gestures for you to follow him outside, sorry. But bring us as much news about these creatures as thou canst. It's an all or not deal. Decimus stays close to him, but walks backwards, observing your steps closely. About what you want me to do. I'm listening, that's all. Okay, well, thanks. Well, I kind of figured the quills would be more of a subtext than anything. We're really there to find information on golems. Protective monsters. What was this chisel again? A simple tool used for cutting or splitting hard surfaces, but essentially it channels the strength of a mallet, club, or stone in a specific spot, allowing the sculptor to achieve a high level of precision. Right, this was like a multi-tool. Filled with magic deck zero makes its own electrical content so powerful they can carve in granite, so precise they can write in glass. And we have a couple of uses for that. We'd even use that to open doors. So we have all that we need. They didn't really help us much. The monastery didn't really give us much. Old Pagos won't talk to us. Hallisdell, I'm sure they're still pissed at us. So let's skip Hallisdell. Let's go all the way to this new western beach that I wanted to check out last time that we opened the entrance to by doing a bit of an expedition with Hallisdell. Where the druids told us to avoid. But why? The longer you follow the corridor of halls, the more daring the harpies get, observing you as they lower their flight. But now, there's 5 of them. They're fluttering, bat-like wings. Let them hang in a spot, though loudly. The creatures are smaller than goblins, with ape-like features and talons that make you think of a parrot. Their fur is in shades of browns and grays. You could try to get through them, but you have to scare them off for good. Otherwise, you won't be able to ride back east uphill. It's a fight. We're in no good condition to fight, I'm gonna be honest with you. We're tired and hungry. We're gonna be weak in physical struggles. Oh, as much as I'd like to, I think it's better for us to continue going on east, find some food, and figure out some way towards past the watchtower, which we know there's nothing there. Also, either way, we need to find a way to get some hooks. We have a rope, but if we can get some hooks, we can also visit Galakia's band, which is a major portion of what we've been going to. This like mystery of like who they are, why they have so much influence, and what their deal with the old Roadwarden Asterion was. Better that than risk both my life and my horse Yogi's life. So I turn back. What a shame. To Hallisdell, the town that I've betrayed. You approach the open gates. Let's hopefully dismount. A guard approaches you, ready to take your mount to a stable. Good to see ya. How are your journeys? We gossip for a bit. Why not? The Hallisdell is a large village. The life here is slow. The curious locals gather around to take part in your conversation. Recently, a massive beast has tried to make a lair among the hemp fields. Maybe time to form a night watch. Let's enter the village. Nothing new. Timo is still waiting for us to speak with Paulus in the Gala Rocks. There's no new options from last time. Let's continue on to the watchtower. We can't get there before nightfall. Ooh, that's a problem. We do have a cabin that we could maybe stay in. There's foraging grounds for some predators. There's a wanderer statue. Foggy Lake is the inn that we could stay at as well for free. We'll be hungry, but it'll be safe, I think. And maybe we can forage some berries. Again, we gave something to the statue, so maybe we can also ask the statue for some food as well. Who really knows? There's the creek that we're aware of, as well as Gale Rocks that's over there. We just need something to eat. Let's go to these wild lands and see if we can find food. So the old forest garden, for instance, might have some berries. Let's see. You'll go up, down towards the watchtower, and we'll see where they go from there. Here we go. Spotted trees and shrubs grow strong, but there are no fruits left. Only birds nest among the branches, and leftovers spread in the short grass. There are quite a few ripe fruits inside as well as berries. I could spend more than half an hour foraging for wild plants, which I should. A bit of time for some wild plants, that's good. Most of what you find is sour apples, juicy plums, a few clumps of sorrel, and a bit of lettuce, some are sprayed by the wild critters. I pack them into nets and bags, and I eat them right away. Not very filling, but good enough for us to survive, to really work ourselves now. We need to find a safe place for us to sleep for the night. I think Foggy Lake is the best place to go. We can put the northern road. I think one of our fish traps are here. We can get a fish, and then we can continue on as well. We could also try to shortcut through the middle, see if we can cut some time and get there faster, but then There's a giant beast in the middle here that has killed one of the lost hunters. So we need to be careful about going through this place, because that beast could find us by nightfall if we're not too careful with our time. So I think we get a fish. We go to Foggy Lake, take a little nap, right? And also we have to ask some questions anyways over. And the loud crickets can't hide the loud splash of a creature that just jumped into the lake. The howlers gather around you as you approach the tree. The smalls of them are hanging from branches, while a few larger ones get on the ground, observing you from tall grasses. You plug your ears quickly. Maybe I don't set up fish here. Maybe saying a fish here is stupid, and maybe I set up fish somewhere else, like by the Wanderer, which that's a hell of a lot safer, you know? I don't want to deal with howlers. They're like monkeys that jump around and throw rocks at you and then scream at you. It's a very interesting sort of enemy type. They don't bother you unless you bother them, but they could be a risk if I stay for too long. We go towards the Foggy Lake Inn, and there's a hint of a strange stench, and fresh claw marks left on the ground. A large saurian entered and left the yard through the lake. We spot a baited claptrap near the palisade. I have nothing to say to foragers. I've done all my work with them. I enter the tavern in the set. I see Foggy. How can I help you, love? Well, let's hit Foggy. I have some things I'm willing to part with, actually. Would you be willing to buy these boar tusks? He's a large deer, but every now and then we also hunt down a boar or two. He places the tusk on the table, making a circle. I may sell them to the traveler one day. The city folk like to show their friends what mighty hunters they are. I'll give you a dragon and dinner later on. I don't know about that. Again, this is a common trophy in the north and often turned into wall decorations. I can either save it for something, but I think it is worth it to sell because a dinner in the morning would be great to keep us going as well. Though, however, we're going to pass by a wild place where we can forage for food anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I think it's worth to keep it just to see if we can turn it into something later. I don't want to sell my axe nor my jar of troll urine, so I'm just going to sleep here. Thanks, Foggy. Appreciate it. Sleep in the attic, because that's all we really have. There's plenty of space, many furs to choose from. The staff will help me take care of my mount's filth. And I can rest here for free. I'll be stinky after, I'll be hungry. I could gain some health, but it doesn't really matter. New time for the new day. We need a full day for a long journey. Listening to the grunts of the annoyed yogi makes you feel uneasy. But at least the fur is covering the floor, helping you relax. You don't even notice when it's already morning. And while the smell coming from the lower floor is not inviting, at least it's not you who has to take care of it. Let's try some alchemy. I think we need some money for alchemy, but I think that's something we can do for free as well. We can either make a withering dust for removing bushes and shrubs, binding powder to help me in combat, a healing potion, or an ointment that can help me at the fort for the mosquitoes. Can I make this? None of anything. Well, you know what? Maybe we don't get anything. Maybe me and Yogi are just gonna move on. Let's go to the foraging grounds, the Wanderer. We're gonna find something new, chat. We can finally go on to the east and see the white marshes. The willow's twigs are swinging gently, sending the leaves toward the lake. The road is covered with a resting blanket. The statue stands in all its glory, observing the road and those who use it. The coin you left in the wooden bowl is no longer here. Did some motherfucker steal my coin? I'll spend some time setting up a fish trap, and I'll wash myself in the stream as well to make myself smell better. So, set the fish trap. You place the basket on the ground, then grab a bowl and start looking. Start digging, looking for a few larger worms. You bait the stick and push it inside the basket, locking it between the sides. Then cover the entrance with the lid. Tying it together takes you a few good moments, but will be easier later on. You attach the entire trap to the tree and place it into the brook, moving it around to make sure it stays in place. Who knows how long it will take before something large enough swims inside. Still, it'd be better to not wait for too long, otherwise the prey may die of hunger. I will also wash myself here. Or I'll try to at least. The brook would hardly cover your feet, but you can sit in the pebbles and splash yourself with water. The oak ash soap, the teeth set, and perfume you own can help you get even cleaner. I wash my shell carefully. We have 13 hours before dusk, 19 days before autumn, which is when the game ends. And that took us 15 minutes, but we regained 2 appearance, which makes us feel and look a lot better, which means that people are going to trust us more, in a weird way. You don't trust dirty, people in general, which is weird. It's weird how this game sort of encapsulates that like social phenomenon, which is a real social phenomenon too. The better and more clean you look, the easier it is to like converse with like people. As you wash your sweaty skin, Yogi quenches his thirst and looks for intruders. Come on, Yogi, there's nobody here, no one's gonna hurt us. The cabin, I wonder if that man is still there. He might have left already, and I wonder if the spider, if anyone else has inhabited this like building ever since last time. The nearby flowers are covered with humming bees. The man without a name left behind a wooden bowl with a roasted bird wing, fresh berries, hazelnuts, and 2 wild carrots, all of them untouched. I could either sit down and enjoy the food, or it could be poisoned and I could throw the bowl outside. Honestly, even if it's poisoned, I think we have enough safety in mind for us to just take this risk. And again, this is an Iron Man run, so it's scary to do this. I don't think the man without a name would poison us like this. He's saying that he left to go and escape Glockia's band, and we helped him. I sit down and I enjoy the food. The table doesn't stick to your fingers, so you decide to rest your elbows. The meal is alright. Some gruel would go well with it. Some good for your food. That was nice. I guess he wanted to say thank you for what we did for him, for getting him safety. Now, we can go to the old bridge with a single stone slab placed over a stream bed. We make our way to the abandoned watchtower towards Yodoshia's domain. Now again, the quest that the monks gave us told us how to get there. Which is studying the golems. Dangerous golems spotted in possession of Yodoshia. We need to churn and continue on past the watchtower because there's nothing there. And then from there, we'll be able to reach the Enchantress. Let's see if this pans out for us. I don't think it will, but let's see if it can. Because if it does, we'll gain a lot of trust with them. And maybe they can tell us more about this mystery of Steep Stone, which is a once prosperous village. However, the abandoned watchtower is also scary. An outpost built at the top of the hill, barely taller than the nearby tree crowns. Maybe there's food here. I don't know. While the hills are full of life, you don't hear anything coming from the watchtower. Its upper level lacks a wooden platform from which the guards could fire their crossbows or drop stones on the opponents below. So this place was not meant to be used in combat, but rather a shelter from claws and fangs. Such structures can be found in especially untamed parts of the Dragonwoods, used occasionally by travelers or patrolling squads. Since the end of the war, the cities can't find enough people and dragon bones to keep them in good shape. You see no footsteps, no lights, no fresh trash, or a latrine. The birds are preening their feathers at the top of the tower, while the branches of nearby trees are swaying in the fierce cold wind. We have a lot of options. It's my first time here. We knew about it before, but I didn't want to go here last time because it was nighttime. Now, we have a lot of time, daytime, safety, and a place to run to if we need to, but we should try to open this place up for us to use for safety. Because it would be nice just to have a place to hide in if we have to leave the eastern front, but we can't get anywhere else. Not the eastern front, sorry. The eastern, forest. We can either approach the entrance, take a look at the signpost, walk to the gates, try to find something interesting among the spruce trees, or examine the campfire spot at the fence. Campfire is being a sign of life. Let's take a look at the signpost first. The wood and leathers are damaged by decades of rains, frost, borers, claws, and mosses. Borers being like beetles and stuff eating through the wood. We scratch off some of the moss. The plank on the top points both toward the watchtower, with the letter spelled south, and away from it, with the additionally carved north. The one beneath it points east, and this time you see a tidily written word, painted on the wood in blue. Enchanting. In Hovlevin, enchanters are artisans specialized in filling ordinary items with magical pneuma, and sure enough, the arrow here looks more like a magic wand. That is the way to the Enchantress, to the east. The bottom plank, pointing west, has a picture of a tall tower on it, surrounded by little houses. The carving spells monastery, but the wood is covered in red paint, suggesting danger. That's new. We know that the White Marshes is there, that they believe in necromancy, but we're also on a mission to deliver something too. So is it really that dangerous for us to go down there and say hello? Again, danger is relative. It's dangerous for some, but maybe not dangerous for others. For us, the Roadwarden, is it really that bad for us to go towards whatever is down there? I think not. I think it's worth it for us to see. At the same time, pointing west, tall tower on it surrounded by little houses, could be Old Pagos. Pointing west all the way over here versus pointing south, well, I guess that south is still a bit of a mystery then. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's literally saying the monks at the monastery are dangerous. But why are they dangerous? And why was Old Pagos marked as danger too, by association? As a tower, surrounded by little houses. Maybe we did something wrong. Not sure. I examine the campfire spot at the fence. You see a shattered bowl, the remains of a meal from many years ago. However, the firewood and lonely stool are not too old. No doubt that the watchtower seems less threatening to wayfarers than the wilderness around it. I may use this campfire spot in the future if I have any raw meat with me. Last time my fish rotted. There's something interesting among the spruce trees. Must be a human-made copse. When the smallest of the spruces are out of order, born of wild seeds. The largest trees are as tall as the tower itself, which surely doesn't help those who are meant to observe their surroundings. There are also some stumps, most of which used to belong to young saplings. These trees were likely meant to be sold to carpenters and coopers, but they were left alone many years ago. In the copse, you find wild fennel and lettuce thriving in shadows, and there are pears and berries growing among nearby trees and shrubs. We could actually forage these. We have a new option. Picking fruits and vegetables should be easy on open hill. I should spend half an hour foraging. We have time, and food is always worth it, especially considering how dangerous these lands are, and that we have no money left to buy anything from more civilized places. Yogi grazes at the fence while you cross the short meadows, seeking edible leaves of fennels, sorrel, and lettuce that hide in the shadows of spruce trees, forcing you to get on your knees and push the branches away. After some time, with needles in your hood and sleeves, you carry the vegetables to the gate, washing them with your water skin and spreading them on a blanket, allowing them to dry up. As you pick the very few remaining pears and berries, you notice a wide, hollow tree. You take a look inside and find a stash of acorns and chestnuts, but also hazelnuts and walnuts. I can either take the food from this creature. Our character seems to assume that it's a squirrel, but it could be anything, really. We don't really know what houses themselves in these trees. And say, oh, more food for us. Or we can simply leave it be. Again, to reiterate, the druids and the life of these lands is real. The forests themselves are alive. It's like nature has its own forest. The zombies that arise, the shells filled with pneuma but no soul, lacking that human soul. They seem to appear from the forest itself. And I think it's best for us not to tempt the forest too much, given that they can make monsters like this find us at any moment, I guess is the way to say it. So sure, there might be more food for me, but the squirrels will need them more. I take the 2 fruits that I found back to my bundles. I go back to the crossroads, take a look at the signposts. Let's approach the gate, or the entrance. I think the entrance is the entrance to the tower. I'd rather see inside, but let's look at the gate first to make sure there's nothing that's going to ambush us. Setting up a firm wall in a place like this is a bit unusual. It goes on for no more than 40 feet until it connects with a natural rock face. Such a structure can be found near the city, acting as a checkpoint at which to stop any travelers to search through their belongings or request a fee. But in the middle of nowhere? Deer and other animals, used to running here with no hindrance, must have been more than annoyed. A risky investment. You touch the gate made of a high-quality wood, previously soaked in oil, now mostly wiped off. It was left open. You don't see any wooden bar that could be used to lock it. You try to move the cold planks, buried in dried-up mud, but with no luck. It would require some worrying digging. Let's approach the entrance of the watchtower and see what's inside. What mysteries does it hold? You take a look at Yogi. Necessary, it could bow its head and walk inside. This place could be a decent shelter for the both of you. The planks are strong and heavy, well protected from rain and the wind, and when you knock, they seem to be thick. While the door shakes at your push, it won't open. Defensive structures usually have a locking bar on the inside, but you also see a large keyhole. You walk around the tower, making sure there are no open windows or other entrances. Doesn't look like you can get in without destroying the door, and doing so is going to make a potential entryway for wild creatures. Let's look through the keyhole first. I don't want to destroy it. I think we can actually find the key somewhere. Let's look through the keyhole. You kneel down and take a peek. There's nothing in the hole. The room is dark, with tiny bits of light passing through the crevices of the windows. You see the shapes of wooden furniture, like tables, casks, and a ladder. But the only movement you notice belongs to the dust dancing in the sunbeams. If I can preserve this door, this could be a great resting spot for us. We have food to forage on this side. To get food normally, we'd have to go back to civilization or deal with the White Marshes, which we don't really know if the White Marshes would be tenable to us if they'd like to spend time with us. So I think keeping this place whole is a better choice in the long run. I turn to the crossroads, and I travel south, not to the Enchantress yet, but to go to the White Marshes, hand off my cask of alcohol from Foggy, see if I can get a safe place to rest for the night just in case, because I won't be able to make my way back. Uh-oh. Whenever this music plays, it means I fucked up in some way. The neglected path barely finds any space among all the hills, trees, and streams. There's a deer on the ground, lying in a red puddle, surrounded by a small pack of creatures which knows your presence quickly. There's about 8 of them, with thick furs in shades of brown, gray, and black, and hairless faces with small eyes and large mouths, currently stained by the blood of their prey. Some of them move on all 4s, while others comfortably stand on 2 feet. They are 2 to 3 heads shorter than you, but it's your mount which truly towers over them. You see how a couple of the beasts take a few steps back, grunting and glancing at one another. The one with gray fur shouts, and the others move towards the rocks and sticks which are piled on the road. They hold them awkwardly, and some struggle to maintain a straight posture, leaning onto new weapons for support. Then, almost all of them spread to your left and right, blending with the shrubs loudly. Only 2 of the apes are standing still. We can either try to push through them, the goblins, or I can grab my axe and hold the reins tightly and hope that Yogi can get through without being hurt. I'm very healthy and very strong, and I'm sure Yogi can push through without being afraid. I'm sure she can fight through this very, very safely. So I think it's worth it for us to try to clear this way immediately, before it's too late. Because if we wait for too long, it's going to be a hell of an awkward night. I grab my axe and hold the reins tightly. Yogi tries to turn around, but loyally follows your directions. I can either charge at the goblins in the middle of the road, which is a chance. The dice roll always signifies that this is a gamble. You hope that you roll well, and presumably there are factors that go into this. I can scream at the pack, shaking my weapon, and try to scare them away, but there's no guarantee that they'll be afraid because there's 5 of them. I can take a moment and reach for my shield, or I can take a moment and reach for the jar with troll urine. I can also look behind me just to make sure they're not already there. I can make a few threatening swings, focusing my attention on the beasts that enter the forest, and also dismount and prepare for combat, or wait for their move. Now these are goblins. I don't know if a troll urine will actually scare... Oh wait, it does scare goblins. Look, it's a stench allegedly scares goblins and pebblers away. I think we take a moment and we just get the jar with the troll urine, but look behind me first. No, I trust that they weren't able to circle me in time. I'm gonna reach for the jar with troll urine first. You reach for the jar, trying to unstrap it from the bundles and take it out from its sack, but you realize it's not going to work. Maybe the goblins know what's going on, or maybe they feel encouraged by your passiveness. They jump forward from a couple sides at once. Then, you get stabbed in the back. Literally. Oh no. You turn around, seeing a goblin that, as far as you can tell, was not a part of the group surrounding the carcass. Shit! I should have looked behind me. Oh no. I was holding a wooden spear. Rather a pointed stick, longer than the creature is tall. Your armor was able to reduce the impact, but you feel the pain from the hit. You can tell that the linen was torn. You need to find someone able to fix it. You wonder how many of them are still hiding among the trees. I can't win, and I can't run away. I rush Yogi forward. Your mount speeds up, though it doesn't have any space to enter a gallop. You prepare your weapon, but while you feel someone comfortable with a blade when on foot, fighting from a saddle is completely unfamiliar to you. The younger goblin attempts to stop your horse, but the strike it receives sends it into the nearby bush, screaming in pain. The gray one, however, manages to grab your boot and is now trying to keep up with your speed, making one long leap after another. You attack with a shield is of little help since the creature stays on the opposite side. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I should have looked behind me. I always look behind you. Before you bring the bowl of hot soup out the kitchen, you yell fire and you look around you, make sure no one's around you, right? We had to figure out what to do. It's making long strides and it's holding on to me. Should it hold on to me tightly enough? If I go faster, if I ride faster, there's a good chance I'll fall off the horse. I can try to kick it off and try to beat it off, but it might just get angry and stab me and my horse, Yogi. I also aim for the head, go for one quick kill. But we're very unfamiliar with fighting on horseback. Safest option, I think, is to kick it off. But safety has never really given us much of anything. Again, playing safe has always been a very dangerous tactic because though you're safe, the reward is very, very small as well. Why don't I just try to kill the damn thing? Try to get it off of me. Teach them a lesson. I aim for the head. A lucky swing of your axe hits its skull. Yes! Not only crushing the bone, but also pushing it out of your way. Yes! It rolls over the road. Your mount runs faster. Still riding, you shake the blood off your blade. Your leg is free. The road It's clear, and only my armor took a hit. We ride as fast as we can. For a few more moments, you hear the angry shouts and screeches, but after that, it's again only you and your mount. Time to see what we're going to find down the road. By the way, this side of the road, this side of the map, this sign told us not to go here. I think they were hiding the white marshes from us. But we have reason to be here now. Something to give them. Huh. A round pine tree blocks the road. For a wayfarer, walking over the thin branches at the top is not much of an issue. Being Yogi led on a rope to walk around the stump, with a large wagon, but a large wagon can move onward in one piece. At least not without detaching the meals and packing all the wares and moving everything by hand. Cutting a tree into pieces would take hours, even with proper tools. You can't hope to move it with just the muscles that you and your mount have to offer. I can't get rid of this obstacle all by myself, so maybe I can get help too. If I could have put my fish trap here, but hell no, it's very dangerous. I also try to wash myself, but I don't think wash myself would really help much. Let's see if we can. The river's full of life. Not only a bit brown and greenish, but also smelling of algae. It won't help you much. The oak ash soap, that will help you get cleaner. I step away. We're as clean as we can possibly get. I'm gonna look around first, see what we can find here. Because a broken wagon here is a key detail for us. And I think we can find something that was left behind. What do we investigate? The surrounding area. You walk deeper into the wilderness, searching through the shrubs and trees. You don't find any side paths, no remains of a camp or a hamlet. The first game trail you find has been used exclusively by animals. Let's look at the wagon. The planks are still firm, and there's no mustiness in the air, but the vehicle needs just a push to fall to pieces, like a child's toy with nothing to keep the parts together. There are ways to construct a wagon with just wood, leather, and fiber. You find the marks of hinges, braces, nails, and clamps, which are now all gone. Valuable metal. The wheels are missing the steel rims. You find only one linen bag, empty, moist. You can't estimate how deep the tracks are. The ground was hard, so the cart's weight wasn't a significant factor. They weren't carrying much. The tree. The leaves are not completely dry, and when you break one of the twigs, it still contains water. There are no signs of sickness that you can recognize, and the termites and the bugs are still sparse. Beneath the trunk, there's no blood, no abandoned limbs. This tree was alive not too long ago. It takes a long time to dry wood. Even in real life, it takes a very, very long time. You often have to leave it outside for like a whole season, for a whole year even, many years, just to finally dry out the wood so you can finally use it. This thing is a very, very recent drop. But why? Let's look at the stump. You don't find any marks of a maw or paws. The top is hip high and unnaturally smooth. You could comfortably sit down on it. It was cut. The tracks. The trampled grass, you find two sets of tracks to follow. There are no hoofprints. The first set is near the destroyed wagon. The wayfarer suddenly stopped. You can see where they made a sharp turn. The second trail is close to the tree stump. Most of the marks were left by flat, cheap boots, not suitable for long walks, but someone was wearing hard, wide heels distorting the ground. Almost like a heavy armor, right? Like a knight's boot or something. Like a knight's foot guard. Both trails avoid the eastern wilderness. They stick to the main road and lead you north. They could have belonged to 24 people, maybe more. You follow them for a bit, but lose them once there's no more mud and tree needles to find. They suddenly did a sharp turn, almost as if in surprise of something, when the tree fell, I'm assuming. The river. We only take 2 steps to disappear in the deep water. The rocky bank smells fresh and is filled with the sounds of frogs, insects, and birds. It's not a good spot to quench your thirst. The beds of long kelp, pulled by the flow of the river, are covered with fish and 4-legged creatures that you don't even recognize. You keep an eye on the land. There's no carcass in sight, no signs of shells that would be left nearby. But the bushes, I don't know if the bush is going to tell us much, but sure, I like bush. Oh, we found an arrow. But there are no berries left, only broken twigs, fallen leaves, and trampled grass. You notice a pointy arrow made by a human hand, with a head made of horn and black-orange fletching. These feathers originally belonged to one of the local pheasants. You see no arrow marks around, not even on the wagon. Maybe the entire set was stolen. The feathers belong to one of the local pheasants. We caught a smaller version, or like a larger version of it recently, with the hunters from the Foggy Lake Inn, I think. I think that's what we caught. A pheasant of some kind. A bird creature of some kind. What about the Western Hill? The rocky wall isn't much of a challenge. The top of the hill is covered with short grass and sparse trees. You notice a couple of bushes with a good view of the road, just next to the remains of a campfire. Charred pieces of wood, ash, bird bones, trampled grass, and a broken earthenware bottle. You follow the deepest tracks, leading to the edge of the soft earth. Someone jumped down, or at least stopped stepping on the grass. As if something was hiding in the grass. Now, we've fought a treant before. We've unfortunately come face to face with a treant one time that nearly killed us. So we know what happens when nature all of a sudden comes alive. But why would they avoid the grass? If treants are mostly the giant trees, what could be hiding in this grass? That doesn't seem too long either. The road. Or maybe they simply wanted some more height to get away from something. Just to stay on more, I guess, like stable ground, perhaps. The road here is already being overgrown, fading away. But it's in no worse shape than the other parts of the southeastern route. No alternate path has formed around the blockade, sorry. I can take another look. I can take a look at the stump again. I think I know what happened here. What do you think has happened to the tree? I don't know if I actually know what's going on. We can say we have second thoughts. We can say it was cut down to set up an ambush. It was broken by a monster, broken by wind, dying from an illness, or impossible to tell. We know it wasn't dying from illness. There's a clear marking to it. It's a smooth tree cut. Very, very smooth. It wasn't broken by wind because there's no way wind can shear a tree down and you would almost split the wood. It would crack, right? Nor was it broken by a monster because there are no marks on it. No maw marks at all. No like paw prints. Nothing. No claw marks. The only option left is that it was cut down to set up an ambush. And it's why they turned around so suddenly at the last second. Because when they walked to the wagon, they then immediately did like a sharp turn because they saw something happening. It was cut down to set up an ambush. They were surprised by it. Why was the wagon abandoned? We'd say it was attacked by monsters. The owners had no time to move it, so they left it behind. It was attacked by highwaymen. It broke and the owners weren't able to fix it, or it's impossible to tell. There are no monsters. I don't think there's a single monster here. It's not that they had no time to move it and that they left it behind. Though they could have. They weren't carrying very, very much. But, again, even a barrel takes many, 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 many months to years to make in this world, right? Even in real life, if you have no easy tools to draw out wood quickly. Especially for something like a wagon that has metal trimmings on it. Hinges, caps, like just locks, everything. For something that valuable, that's been stripped clean, by the way. Stripped clean of all the metal. Valuable metal. They wouldn't leave the wagon behind. So there's no way that they would just say, oh, not enough time, we have to move now. That'd be impossible. And as well, because it would have costed so much for them to lose the wagon and all the valuable bits and pieces. Presumably this thing costed a lot of money to make. They wouldn't just leave it there if it was broken either. They would try to fix it. And they would try to keep it safe while they find someone to fix it, if they had to. They would at least try their best to bring it back with them. No, it was actually stripped apart of all of its valuable parts. I think it was attacked by highwaymen. What was originally transported on the wagon. This is the interesting thing to think about, okay? We can say that some valuable merchandise, someone's belongings, passengers, or food supplies. The weight wasn't so heavy that it would have pushed the wagon down. If even a single person, your smallest person that you know of, is like 100 pounds or so, right? That's still a lot of weight. And I think, combined with the weight of the wagon itself, it would have made at least a mark on the floor. The hard dirt floor. And if we think that there's more than one passenger, that thing for sure would have left a very clear mark on the floor of where they went. And we know that this is fairly recent because the tree recently fell down too. So it's not like the land had time to recover. No, there's simply no marks. They weren't carrying anything heavy. It could have been someone's belongings, but that's also very, very empty of a statement. We don't really know what their belongings would have been. However, we do know that there were arrows, that it wasn't fired at anything. So it could be that it was a belonging of some kind. I don't think it's food supplies, because we would have found more marks of monsters. The monsters would have come here to eat the food. The wilderness in general would have come here to like eat that food, if it was left here. I think it was actually valuable merchandise, though, compared to belongings. Because an arrow is very, very valuable. Though it was made here, it's one of those things that takes time to craft. It was handmade. Somebody made it. A craftsman made it. This is valuable merchandise that you can use for whatever purpose. I think they stole valuable merchandise. What happened to the owners of the wagon? I can either say they were taken north, that they were killed on the spot, that they disappeared in the wilderness, or they turned back. They weren't killed on the spot. If they were killed on the spot, we would have seen much more signs. We would have seen many more signs, but there are no signs that they were killed here. They weren't necessarily taken north, I don't think, because there was no way for them to get through this wood tree, because they climbed up the hill as well. We saw a set of footprints walking up the hill. They didn't turn back either. None of their marks went them back, like took them backwards. They went towards the wilderness for some reason, and they simply disappeared. The tree was cut down to set up an ambush. The cart, which transported some valuable merchandise, was attacked by highwaymen. Its owners have disappeared in the wilderness. Are you sure that this is most likely what happened? No, because the fact that you asked me that gives me second thoughts. Let's think about this. Wait. That's like when you you go into a place, and they give you one or two options. It's like, do you want the red pill or the blue pill? You say, I want the red pill. Then they go, are you sure? And it's like, okay, buddy, like you didn't have to say that. Now I'm questioning myself. So you say, wait. Then you say the blue pill. And then they say, are you sure? It's like, I don't know anymore. What does that mean? In a way, I kind of wish... There's one thing I wish this game did particularly well. I wish they gave me confidence. I wish this game gave me confidence in the writing of the UI stuff. Okay, well, let's see where was the quest? Follow tree. Let's look at the tracks again. Where do they go and the wagon? In the trampled grass, you find two sets of tracks to follow. Yep. No hoof prints, so no horses. The first set near the destroyed wagon. They suddenly stopped. They made a sharp turn because they were ambushed. Second trail close to the tree stump. Most of the marks were left by flat, cheap boots, not suitable for long walks, because they were here in the middle waiting for them to pass through, and then they dropped the tree on them. Both trails avoid the wilderness. Sorry, and they lead north. My bad. You follow them for a bit. So they actually went north. Sorry, they were taken north. I was wrong. Well, at least we know they were taken north. They didn't go into the woods. So what was in the wagon? Blank still firm. Weight to the wagon. Can't estimate how deep the track was. The ground started. The cart's weight wasn't a significant factor. We found an arrow. I still think valuable goods. Was it valuable? I don't know. How much does your average shield weigh? Probably not much. My sword weighs like what? Like 12 pounds. My longsword in real life weighs 12 pounds. You'd need like dozens of these to fill up the weight of a person. So a wagon of this size that's filled with people would definitely make marks on the hard ground. It would be a significant factor, but it wasn't. Valuable goods tend to be very, very interesting in that their weight doesn't necessarily match their value. You could be bringing like, say, gold or something, just a single bar, and it'd be worth like $1,000. But it doesn't really weigh that much, right? So I think it's valuable goods still, but they went north. Okay, good. I know what happened here. Ambush, highwaymen. Well, not necessarily highwaymen. I think it's not highwaymen, but specifically either Galakia's band or the people of the White Marshes. Valuable merchandise, because again, we found an arrow. I have second thoughts. Bushes. No berries left. You see no arrow marks, not even on the wagon. I know what happened here. Second thoughts. Surrounding area. You'll see side paths and remains of a camp. The first game I know what happened here. Ambush. Highwaymen. Valuable merchandise. North. You think the tree was cut down to set up an ambush. The cart, which transported some valuable merchandise, was attacked by highwaymen, because why would they attack it otherwise, right? Its owners were taken north. You sure that this is most likely what happened? Do you want the red pill? Do you want the blue pill? You sure you want to eat that pill, buddy? I don't know, man. I'm sure. I'm gonna drink some water to really seal the deal. Drink the water as a ritual to say I'm sure. I don't know. No. I'm sure. 2 sips and I feel more sure. Well, you can't be sure of what really happened here. You don't think there's much left for you to find. Let's hope you haven't missed anything. Haven't missed anything. What? I've second thoughts about the investigation. I take another look at the road. Wait, what? The road here is already overgrown, fading away, but it's in no worse shape than the other parts of the southeastern routes. No alternate path has formed around the blockade. I climb the western hill again. The rocky wall isn't much of a challenge. There's a couple of bushes with a good view of the road, just next to the remains of a campfire. Charred pieces of wood, ash, bird bones, trampled grass, and a broken earthenware bottle. You follow the deepest tracks, lean to the edge of the soft earth. Someone jumped down, or at least stopped stepping on the grass. I climbed the western wall. They then climbed down, but they were avoiding the grass up here because they need to knock down the tree, maybe. I climbed the western hill again. 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 Why am I allowed to just keep doing this? What? I climbed the western hill again. I'm just climbing constantly. I mean like a loop, like a permanent loop of like climbing this like wall. My arms are sweaty. Knees weak, arms are heavy. I approach the river again. There's no carcass in sight. No signs of shells that would be left nearby. The stump is smooth. The tracks are good. They go north. But is it where they came from? No. They avoid the wilderness. They lead north. I know what happened here. Ambush. Highwaymen. Maybe it's food. Maybe they're hungry. I climb the wall again. Just read this. On the wall, charred pieces of wood. Ash. Bird bones. Bird bones. Were there many of them? They would not be able to feed themselves off of birds alone. Obviously, there are much larger birds in this world, but the larger birds tend to be referred to by their much larger names, right? So in that way, we can assume that when it says bird bones, it really does mean bird bones. Tiny little creatures, barely any meat on them, mostly just air and feathers. Nothing really much to eat. They must have been hungry. Because why would they risk this, right? Why would they risk any of this? A one-time shot at dropping this tree down. Because they're starving. And what do we know about Glaucia's band? Glaucia's band to the north, highwaymen, bandits. What do we know about them? They live in these woods in secret. The woods around them are dangerous. Presumably, they don't have any free access to these places. And presumably, they must be starving in some way. I know what happened here. Ambush. Attacked by highwaymen. Food supplies. Because you know what's really, really low weight? Bread. Fish. Cheese. Ham. You ever have like a... Listen. When you... If you ever buy ham. You buy your first kilogram of ham. You realize just how much money you've just wasted. Okay? There's barely anything on that thing. Food taken north. I'm sure. Oh God, I don't know. I don't know at all. I think the tree. Okay, well that's gonna. Okay, well that is a genre-defining choice. Well, let's go over here. Let's go further down south. How much time do we have left? 8 hours before dusk. We have a lot of time. We can make it. Let's go down. I know that symbol. That symbol is of the monks, the monastery of what was their name again? Sorry, I don't really keep track of all the various people in these lands. It's somebody from the Order of Truth. A couple of stone slabs Not unlike the bridge you saw in the northeast, which turned into a hut-like shape, but in the ancient chapels raised by the priests of the United Church in the days of few soldiers and even fewer shelters. Oh, that's the United Church symbol. Oops. The dolmens proved to be especially durable, though the conditions they offered were harsh. The entrance is barely wide enough to let you walk inside. It was meant to keep you larger beasts away, including your palfrey. You can't spend the night here. You dismount and look around. But the hourglass! This hut was used by the United Church. They're in conflict, and they don't believe in the truth seekers. What's the name again? I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting that name. They don't really believe in the Order of the Truth. They only use them for their own gain within Hollovan, the main city. The hourglass is a symbol of the Order of Truth, not the symbol of the Church of the Unites. So why is the hourglass there? Let's take a peek. I don't think it's worth it to go inside, maybe. We should, maybe, but I think it's worth it to wear my amulet once we understand why the hourglass is here. It's the most common religious sign of the city folk, adapted by the United Church, Orders of Truth, and the majority of fellowships. It's used by all of them. It's used in temples and during the funeral rites, but also to decorate codices or jewelry. The winged hourglasses portray the ephemerality of life and the rigidity of time. When possible, they're made of steel, signifying the strength of humankind's mental determination and innovation. So it's actually used by all of them. They have the same symbol. So this is for sure used by the United Church. I had the amulet that I could wear just in case there's someone inside. But let's have a couple of options here. Again, my character is a pagan, so it makes sense why we have these options. First one is I feel disgusted seeing this cursed symbol. I should defile it. Or I don't want the locals to get upset at me for destroying the sacred signs, and I can simply step away. I'm going to step away. Again, it's not my place to really enforce my whims on this world. I'm just a Roadwarden, but I will wear this winged hourglass on my neck in order to enter this building and maybe convince someone. Let's see. The beams of light to get through the gaps between the rocks. You can hardly see anything. A torch would fill the place with smoke, but a candle will suffice. You wonder how many travelers have sat on the cold rock, observing the entrance and fighting with their heavy eyelids. I might prepare my wooden lantern, look around, light up a candle, or go outside. I look around. What are you looking for? Paying attention to? I should get some light first. Wait. Okay, so slab. Even though a part of the ground is covered with a single massive slab, there are sections for your any flooring. You see soil, small rocks, sand. In one spot, you find the remains of charred wood. And again, this is that one feature of the game that I talked about, where you need to know what to type in order to explore and understand the space that you're in. You need to be observant of both the image around you and the textual clues for you to figure out what to even find. It's important for you to go through it all, and the game will tell you when you're done, which is a nice feature. But until then, it's a bit of a mystery for you of how much left. A part of the floor is littered with the remains of an old campfire, not more than a couple months old. You see dust, burnt bones, and wood. The wall above the spot is covered with soot. Bones first. The wall. All around you. Soot. You notice sticky soot on the walls. Parts of it cover black marks and pictures. Possibly letters. Entrance. You only see the main entrance. It doesn't let in enough light to make your search easier. I go outside then. I enter the chapel. Can I light up a torch or something? Can I see something here? Why can't I light up things now? My option to light up is gone now. That's unfortunate. Lantern. I can't use it. Okay, well I lost the option to light things up. Candle. You either don't find it or I can't understand you. Lantern. Me. Rocks. There are sections. Soil. Sand. Soil. We saw the campfire. Bricks. Ceiling. You see a couple of spider webs. One of the spots on the ceiling is covered by soot. The only sticky... Okay. Wipe. Soot. Letters. A large part of the wall is covered with engravings. It's difficult to figure out what they're meant to portray, but one picture is obvious to you. A long arrow pointing down. Parts of the writing, as well as the nearby wall, is covered with soot. Pointing down. There's something here, and we also get to use our knowledge here. My education could be of use, because I don't know what the arrow actually means besides that. I understand what's written here, sure. The images and letters are a combination of two separate texts. The first one is written with the words of a deer and belongs to an era as old as the dolmen itself. It's almost impossible to decipher it, but you can make sense of it by connecting some words and a general structure. It was a prayer, or a spell, asking for a safe road. The other messages are maybe a couple of years old. While they use the same alphabet, they try to express the modern city tongue. There's a list of wares, as are portrayed by images and the value in dragon bones. Some of the pictures are used as obscene insults. You see, for example, the head of a griffin, or a sketch of a wolf. Someone was not happy with the prices they saw. One passage is especially interesting. Trapdoor payment. There's a trapdoor here. Trapdoor. You make a couple of small holes in various spots, but the most interesting area turns out to be hidden beneath the remains of an old campfire. You move all the ash and pieces of wood until you find a well-preserved plank. You dig around, finding a solid trapdoor locked with a steel padlock. I can either open the trapdoor with a key, which I don't know if I have. I have a key ring, but not necessarily any good key, I don't think. And also break it. But let's see if I do have it. We have 7 hours until dusk. Anyways. You insert the key, and after a bit of wiggling, something clicks. The padlock is cold, dirty, and rusty, but you easily get to the iron latch, which moves away smoothly. You have no problem unlocking the trapdoor. What key do they have? You currently possess a key to the secret passage in the dolmen. Oh, when did I get I got this key at some point, I remember. It was a part of some quest, actually. I forgot about this. I looked inside. You lift the hatch and the heavy humid air suggests an abandoned farm cellar. The candle allows you to estimate that the tunnel is roughly 15 feet deep. There's no ladder that you can use. You think about lowering the rope. You realize that one of the brick walls is covered with large holes, meant to be used as a sort of vertical stairs. You hear no sound coming from the tunnel, but the moldy walls and old cobwebs are not very welcoming. There's a bit of an interesting conundrum here. Should I go down, my horse is left alone. Our nearest spot of safety is back at the old watchtower. Might take us maybe like 2 or 3 hours to get back there. I need to explore this place thoroughly within 2 or 3 hours, and I waste the whole day basically. But being an old cellar, I wonder what I find. The temptation is simply too strong. And I know I said this is an Iron Man run, and it still is. I just want to save just in case, because it would be a shame if we just died outright. I think dying outright and losing everything would be kind of boring. If we end up dying, maybe we can restart, but I don't want to. I just don't want to lose all this progress now, right? Iron Man, in the sense of we commit to our choices, but if we die and the whole stream ends, it'd be kind of boring because we have to restart from the very beginning again, and we'd have pre-knowledge. It would be gaming the game even more than simply reloading back. So, let's climb down and see. You have to move slowly, learning the new route. You hug the cold, moist wall, seeking the support for the boots. For your boots, sorry. Doesn't take long before you feel comfortable enough to jump down, then light up another candle. Both the walls and the floor are made up of stone slabs. You see no movement, no other sources of light. The short tunnel leads you to a smaller room. I walk inside. The room smells of rotten wood and fungi. Abandoned junk is scattered on the ground in shelves, earthenware jars, rotting scraps of linen or leather, wooden plates, bones for carving, and rusty iron tools. While these odds and ends may be years or decades old, the basement could be just as ancient as the main floor of the chapel. The one thing that seems to be uniquely fresh and durable is a small wooden box held together by a few fiber cords. I take the box. It doesn't feel empty, but it's light. You shake it for a bit, trying to guess what's inside. You can't open the box without cutting the cords. I can cut the cords with my knife and open the box, or I can say that this box belongs to someone, and that for now I'm going to keep it in one piece. I don't think we have a quest involving this box. I don't think, but let's double check everything, okay? Exploring the peninsula, 40th day of my journey or sooner, we had to leave by then. We had to help others, we had to find the Roadwarden. We had to send the cask of cider to the White Marshes. There's a closed tunnel to the northern mountains that is closed, and opening it would make the route safer. And I can open it now with the magic chisel. I can open that gate with my magic chisel now, but I need to ensure that the Gale Rocks people won't be annoyed by it because there's also zombies in the inside, which I killed most of them, I think. Eastern Path. We restored the stream for the next Eastern Road with the heart of the woods. Claims the people of the creeks have issues maintaining their roads. Fine. The fallen tree is what we believe. Galakia's band is here. Who gave me that key? Complete quest. Who gave me that key? This was a swamp altar. I see no reference to keys. Merchant's medicament. The old merchant being an asshole. I found the box. Oh. I gave him my healing potion. Okay, I see what happened. This was one of the first quests that we got in the game, actually. The merchant, Akakios of Howler's Dell, is a wife beater. So I simply gave him my potion and told him to fuck off. And I was like, alright, good. You're not gonna bother me anymore. I'll buy your shit, but give me a discount, you piece of shit. He told me to find a potion and give it to him by day 10 or earlier. I simply gave him my extra potion because I figured I didn't need it. Spoilers, I didn't need it right after, and I regretted giving it to him, but oh well. And then he gave me the key to go to the dolmen to find his old merchandise. Now it makes sense. I'm going to open it then because it's no longer his, it's mine. I cut the cords with my knife and opened the box. Fair payment! We know it's a healing potion, so it's fine. The box turns out to be filled with rags, covering a fragile small bottle. It's small and closed with a tall wax seal, inside of which you see a thin stick. It should be easy to instantly open it if needed. You can't look inside, and if you open it, you may not be able to seal it again. Nevertheless, you recognize a magical potion when you see one. I can either open the bottle and drink it, which we don't need to. I can smell it, which you don't need to do. I already know what it is. It's a healing potion. So I attach it to my belt. It may be useful later on. I prepare to leave. Thank you, old man. I know what this content is. Using the light of your candle, you memorize the holes. You climb up quickly. I too remember the holes that I've been in. I'm gonna go to the washroom. Be right back. That was not related to the holes. Doing this live, I need some time. My bladder cannot hold me back. Hi chat, sorry about that. I had to use the washroom really quick. Let's continue on. We got everything we needed. We have a free healing potion. This makes me a lot more confident continuing to push through to nowhere. Where would we push through to? There's no one to push through to. Where in blazes is White Marshes? If it's not in the south, and that's all you get is the dolmen, which wasn't actually that dangerous, what do we do? But also, this is much more comfortable for me. They mentioned a danger here of some kind, but this sign, almost to avoid the east, which means White Marshes is over here, but also, they lied to me. This whole time, we could have gone an even easier way around. Oh, I've been lied to this whole time. Let's go east towards the Enchantress. The first part of the trail is narrow and overgrown. The steep crag in the south divides the lush forest in half. You barely recognize any shapes in the entanglement of grays, browns, and greens. The northern landscape, while similarly impenetrable, is the exact opposite. The meadows turn into barren hills and mountains, barely covered by any grass and bushes. Maybe the riding ibexes of the clanspeople of the growing mountains would get through such a barrier. There are no clans here. There is no life here. There is but the Enchantress. Point to this icon to display the entire area at once. This is a very large place. You see, usually, these maps tend to be very small and show the entire area in one go instead of having to make us expand it all. This, though, is much larger than any other place that we've ever been to. I'm very curious to see what secrets it hides. Okay, sorry about that. The road leads you downhill to the edge of a lake. The clearing around the dwelling is quiet, with no crickets, flies, or even toads. The grass is not even knee-high. There are no signs of a wharf or boats. The wall wasn't coated, and has already been bitten by winds and rains. I could look for an entrance. Right next to the gate, a gargoyle, or a stone look-alike, kneels on a slab. It's dark purple, almost black, with yellow, pointy teeth. Though its half-open mouth has no tongue, the creature doesn't move even an inch. The eyes have been replaced by crystals, red like currant juice. Remember, stone golems outside the Enchantress's home. We know that this is the Enchantress's home. stone golems that can spring to life and take care of her that we see over here as well. A gargoyle wouldn't be out of place either. I can knock on it, I can yell, say, anyone home? I can touch the gargoyle, or I can push the gate. Forcing my way in is a sure way to die. Touching the gargoyle is also very risky. I have no clue what this thing is capable of. Yelling is probably my best bet, but also very rude in a way. Knocking on the gate is also probably the most polite way of doing things, but also the most risky, because I don't know what other enchantments have been placed on this door. But let's take my risk. I don't want to offend anyone, and I think it's better to be kind and be soft, and at least then we can at least maybe get some leniency if they start to ask us why we're here. I knock on the gate. Finding no knocker, you use your fist. There's no response. Anyone home? Your voice is unwelcome by the screeching of dozens of avian throats. They take off from behind the wall, heading toward the lake. After a few breaths, the eyes of the gargoyle grow brighter. What's with all the ape shouts? Ye lost? The words are coming from the monster's mouth, though it remains still. Stand in front of me. I want to see ya mug. The drawling voice belongs to a woman, but it's lined with unnatural creaking. I step closer. The eyes don't rotate, nor blink. So, who are you? And again, we have some options that we can choose how we want to respond to this question. Emotions, ways that we want to take to tackle this. We can be friendly. I'm Stick, the new Roadwarden. I hope you're having a great day. Or I can be vulnerable. I introduce myself. I'd like to ask a few questions, if that's fine with you. I actually think this is one of the few places where we should be a bit more vulnerable compared to friendly, because this person holds all the cards in their hand. But I also don't want to just say I'm here to ask questions without any context. That seems a bit weird, to say the least. I can be playful, using a joke or with a comment, saying, I must say, as a Roadwarden, I've seen some disgusting beast, but you surely have the kindest voice of them all. I can be distanced, hide my emotions, saying I'm Stick, the new Roadwarden. I can be intimidating, hinting at a threat. I'm the new Roadwarden, and I value my time, and speak face to face. I'm sure the Enchantress has a bit of humor, because to be friendly is a bit too much and also a bit too meaningless. To be vulnerable is to almost be a bit too callous of what's going on. Maybe being a bit more playful should be, hopefully, make her appreciate what I'm doing a bit more, I would hope. So, I must say, as a Roadwarden, I've seen some disgusting beasts, but you surely have the kindest voice of them all. During the long pause, the glow of the gargoyle's eyes subside. Once they light up again, the voice gets even colder. I don't know what answer you're looking for, so you'll get none. Do you even know who I am? I can either say, oh, but of course, and I do know her name, Eudocia. Or I can say, I don't, I'm afraid, I'm just getting to know the realm. But I know her. Oh, but of course. What do you call her? Eudocia. Short pause. You're disturbing my work. It's the middle of the day. I need to stay focused. You hear her deep, annoyed breath. For a warden, I'll make this one exception. But next time, come in the early morning or soon before the night. Wait where ye are, we're opening the gate. The monster's eyes darken again. Soon after, you hear heavy steps, and the earth shakes. Something lifts the beam blocking the gate. You realize that your hand is already on the haft of your axe. I'm going to write this down, the time that she wants us to see her. Early morning or soon before the night. Nighttime is a bit more dangerous. Early morning, I think, is the best way to go. Maybe then she won't be as angry. So seek her in either in the early morn or near the dead of night. I try to relax, reminding myself that I'm safe, or I commend myself. One day, such instincts are going to save my life. I try to relax. I'm safe here. This person probably won't hurt me here. Wow. Quite the place. This is a very, very large place. We know that making places like this is very, very difficult, very, very expensive, very time-consuming. But given that she has golems, I imagine this isn't very much trouble for her at all. The gate opens violently, rebounds with a loud thud. almost closing again. The creature in front of you is made of floating rocks that appear to be connected, but it's just an illusion. They get twisted and bend in every direction. The eyeless sentinel faces you blankly. You see another golems in Roadwarden, endlessly helping with bothersome tasks, but you have no idea what makes them move. It lowers its slab-like hands and steps aside, making way for you. Its head rotates, following your steps, but other than that, it's as motionless as a statue. I entered the yard. The house in front of you has a huge entrance, just large enough for a golem. The building is whitewashed, but the lime is aged and damaged. The tools are spread around in no particular order. The rocks are resting in the top of the shed resemble the golems. The garden patches, covered with herbs and vegetables, are neglected. It's quiet here. I may either wander about or approach the sitting golem. Let's wander about for a bit. By city standards, the place is spacious. They fit a few more houses. The smaller structures look solid. You spot many tools made of iron and steel. The owner must be wealthy. The labor and building materials must have been worth a sack of dragon bones. And yet the walls are far from safe. Any large monster could burst inside. The house seems to have no other protection. Finally, a leaf of the door opens. I step closer. The woman is tall and stands upright, with her arms crossed and legs apart. She's more than 30, with a face touched by lack of sleep. She gives you a long look, observing your blade, hands, boots, forehead. Everything but your eyes. I greet ye. Without the distortion caused by the gargoyle, her strong voice isn't as disquieting. You're free to look around, but you won't find much. I don't hoard treasures, I make them. I give her a better look. She's wearing a long, ragged robe covered in stains. It used to be blue, but now is unevenly pale. She's barefoot, with skin covered with dust and dirt. Her dark hair was recently washed, but it's untidily spread on her shoulders, back, and chest. She wears no jewelry, belt, or buckles. Again, many different emotions here that we can use. I'm sure some of which will definitely lead us to some good result, right? Surely. My mouse, for some reason, broke, by the way. Give me 1 second. That was weird. Sorry. Let's see the friendly option. I'm glad you have a moment to spare. I won't bother you for long. Vulnerable. Thank you for agreeing to see me. Intimidating. I don't say anything. Distance. Let's get to it. Just playful. Takes about 3 hours to reach this place. I bet not many people come around. If you're ever a jokester, just know that nobody likes you, and you're every single time you throw a joke, people hate you more. I don't think this has ever worked. I don't think playful has ever worked. I think she cares about being on the back foot, and she cares about respect. She cares about people who respect her and actually try their best for her too. I remember Foggy mentioning something like that to us last time. So I'm glad you have a moment to spare. I won't bother you for long. She looks at the ground and draws out her words. I sure hope not. I'm not interested in chatter. If you need to bother me, speak in the tongue of dragons and barter. I don't serve stew. I don't offer baths. If you come here, I better get aught from it. She walks past you and cocks her head towards a golem who lets you in. Sorry. He turns around and shuts the gate. I let you in this time. It won't happen again. Not during my work. If you come here in the middle of the day, you'll stand outside, looking at the doors like an ibex. You don't need more salutations. So, her voice remains cold. Why are you here? I can say that I was asked to deliver the writing quills to the monastery, which would be interesting because then I can observe the golems at the same time. I say that Photios has sent me to buy a spirit rock for his daughter, hoping that it will enhance Phoebe's pneuma. I can try to learn more about the peninsula. I can say that I'm looking for Asterion, the previous Roadwarden, that I'm looking for a job, or that I'm hoping that they can fill an item with mine with Numa, maybe enchanting it in some way. I think starting first, because we don't have much time, we go towards the jobs. So maybe is there something you would like me to do? I was looking for a job. Make yourselves useful for her. She stands still for a moment and stares into the distance with her gray, absent irises. I've got some stuff that could use another hand. You're for some danger if it comes to it. You nod and ask what sort of creature is bothering her. I meant riding and climbing. If you can do this without grabbing that axe of yours, perfect. Now, give me a moment. She opens one of the heavy doors to her house. You catch a glimpse of a messy bed and a floor covered with clothes. After a minute, she shows up with a large sack filled with rods made of smooth, clean bronze. Here's the gist of it. I need you to get to 8 spots across the peninsula. High buildings, trees, mountainsides. I don't really travel much. Says a confident chuckle, so I can't hold your hand. I need one of them in the white marshes, in the wetlands far west of here. Other than that, you need to keep your eyes open. She takes one of the rods. Once you reach a good spot, place one of these as high as you can. I'll pay you in dragons. 2 for each one, but place at least 4 before you come to see me. I need as many of them out there as possible, so somewhere high. At least one in the white marshes, in the wetlands far west of here. So that's why they told me the druids not to go down here. They were trying to keep me away from the white marshes, which is actually really close. I thought the white marshes were over here, but it's actually far closer than I ever would have imagined. In the east, there's nothing. God damn it. I misread everything. This is bad. Fine. High buildings, trees, pencils, it's fine. Anywhere. So far, so good. What they for? Well, there's magic in them, as you can imagine. You weigh a rod in your hand. Even though it's more than 2 feet long, it's light, empty inside. You can bend it on your knee. The bag also contains a long hemp cord and a scrap of cloth. If I were to send my golems away, let's say a mile or 2 from here, they'd stop moving at all, waiting for me to show up. She approaches the nearest sentinel and touches its chest. They carry similar rods inside. The plan is to give my orders better range, so to speak. I'm tired of depending on hirelings, especially since they no longer stop by. She leans against the golem with her arms crossed. Questions? How much time do I have? Oh, don't worry. She dusts off the golem's arms. Let's say before the leaves turn yellow? Before autumn. Before fall. When we have to leave anyways. We have to leave by autumn anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We failed this quest the moment that we failed the game. This quest was probably the way for you to actually go through and actually discover more of these different places. In a weird way, this is one of the other beginnings of the game that you could have gone through. A mystery that you had to solve by learning their name. But I knew their name before we ever came here, so it's much easier now. Some of the locals may not be happy with me putting bronze rods on their rooftops. She gives you a puzzled look. Wardens do have their ways to get people's good sides, correct? There's a chance here. I've been forced to pull some strings to get it done. 2 dragon bones won't be enough. And I can be sure that you've got no plans to raid the villages with an army of unstoppable sentinels, right? I can try to gamble and see if I can get some more money, but first let's say this. Her grey eyes give you a long, disquieting look. You could swear it's getting colder here. I won't ask for your trust, and I don't need it. Either help me, or leave the rods and do your own stuff. Hey, I can pull some strings, but I need more coins. Please? You haggle for a bit, but the distrust is like a wall. She waves your argument off. I'm not a merchant. I don't gather coins for the thrill of it. Putting almost 20 dragons on the table here should be enough. Do all 8 rods, and I may prepare aught else for you. Sure, we have a deal. She avoids your eyes. Great. Just don't die on the road. This bronze costs me many favors. You should leave one of the rods in white marshes. Why white marshes of all things? Why white marshes of all things? Is there something that she wants to deal with at white marshes, almost to get rid of them, in a way? But that's a question for next time. Though we got a very good quest, and though I'd like to continue, we've been going at this for a while, and I think it's good to cut it here, because it's a pretty long day for me, and we should continue this next time. Roadwarden is a great narrative game, and I really enjoy this game. It's one of those games that we did beforehand that we never got to finish, so we'll be bringing this back, along with the other narrative games that we didn't finish, such that we can finish more games by this year. Until then, the other native games I forgot the names of. It's gonna be a lot of fun as we go through these like old journeys that we've been on before, like Wilderness and stuff. But I love this game a lot. I think there's so much depth to go through. It's like I'm reading a book that I can write with my own actions that changes depending on what I do. It's better than a choose-your-own-adventure book. Because though it's static, they write it with such dynamism in every single word, every single scenario, that it feels like it's alive. There's a real motivation behind every character in this game, and I love it. It's really one of the best, again, meldings of story and gameplay to make a game that's more than a walking simulator, that is actually a narrative-focused game that has meat and bones to it. And again, the last time I felt this was within Until Then, as well as Orwell. Orwell in particular, especially when we played it, had so much choice in it, right? And I can't wait to see the rest of this. I can't wait to see what else is out there. That's it for today in this session of Roadwarden. And if you like this game, I have a whole bunch of VODs on the VOD channel that you can check out about this game. But this is all for me for this session. We'll continue this very, very soon, this whole week, as we'll be streaming for a very long time this whole week. But hope you enjoyed, because really is one of my most favorite native games so far. They do so many good things. And I'm so surprised at how much they were able to nail. And the fact that this game actually got an update recently this year too, to add a whole new ending to it too, that our save is able to take part in, but also a new intro in entirely, as well as a spin-off visual novel called Windy Meadows. So be sure to check those out as well. But I sure will once we're done this. But that's a much longer journey, and I don't want to rush it. I really want to enjoy this whole adventure. You know what I mean?